Hello everyone, I'm Raz from the Semi-Retired Samurai, and I'm here to talk to you about today on how I built financial independence without burnout. Now, one of the things that I grew up with anyway is that when I was a kid, my family went through a lot of financial struggles. So we didn't have actually a lot of money, and I remember my father and mother working really, really hard when we were younger. And eventually I had to go down at the age of 9 to help out with the family business because prior to that, my father declared bankruptcy, and it was a very tough time in our lives. We didn't have a lot to eat. I remember the fridge just had very, very bare basics. And quite often, sometimes I see my parents' car being repossessed, or even the utilities, the gas in the house being shut off. So it was really a tough time for us, and I never forgot, how difficult it was, and that feeling of just trying to get by and survive. And so what I learned at a very young age was hard work. There was no vacations. Any free time I had as a kid, I was working down there. My parents were working. And these were long days, 14-hour days, a lot of labor-intensive work. So I started off with just packing bean sprouts, hauling stuff around, to eventually, when I was old enough at 16, I would start to drive a delivery truck and deliver dry, groceries and really a lot of heavy goods to different parts and restaurants in the city. So what I learned was that all this hard work, while it did build my work ethic, it definitely can trap you. And I'm going to talk more about that today. So one of my first mistakes I made when I got into the working world was I continued this habit of working really, really hard. And there's nothing wrong with working hard. If you want to get to where you want to go, you have to put in the work. But I wasn't working very smart. And when I was in my 20s, I moved away from home to a different city, to another province. And it was here that I really didn't know, I guess, how to make money or be successful. All I just asked my parents when I was growing up was, hey, Dad, how do you become wealthy and rich? And he'll just tell me, well, just work hard, just work hard. So I took that attitude with me. And when I started working, I was not making a lot of money as a junior accountant. I was living in a very expensive city, actually one of the most expensive cities in Canada, which is Vancouver. And I started to look at other ways to make income. And I took on a part-time job where I was sorting mail. And when I finished my job on the weekends, during the week, as a junior accountant, I would just take off my suit, put on my sweatpants, and head across the street to the mail office and sort mail there for the entire weekend. And I realized that maybe that wasn't the best way to go about it, because I was seeing all these other people making quite a bit of money. And at the time, I was working at a commercial real estate firm. So I saw the numbers that some of these realtors were pulling in. It was in the multiple six figures. And this was back in 1996. And one of the top grossing realtors at the time was making about $500,000, which was a lot of money at the time, and probably still is today for a lot of people. And I thought to myself, well, I'm just going to will my way to freedom, financial freedom. But I didn't know anything about investing. My parents didn't know anything about investing, so I didn't know anything about investing to the S&P 500. All these things that people create wealth with, I didn't know, and I was educated in it. And that was probably the biggest mistake I had. And if I can go back in time, I wish I had gotten better mentors to guide me on how to create financial success, and probably guide me to even books and resources. But I didn't know at the time. I was just told to bury my head, go to school, get a job, work hard, and you'll be successful. Well, it didn't turn out that way, at least not at the beginning. So as I was working these hours and making ends meet, I was also getting taxed a lot as well. And I found myself not getting ahead. And when I did make a little bit of money, I felt I need to treat myself because I had deprived myself for such a long time. So I started buying, stupid things, a better car, and eventually I got myself into financial trouble because it started costing me a lot of money to maintain this vehicle, and I found myself in a stressful situation again, not being able to pay a lot of my bills. So I started to realize that I was starting to burn out, and I wasn't experiencing things, I wasn't enjoying things, I wasn't going away myself. So I was heading down to a path that my parents went down, which was working 7 days a week, never taking a break. But to me, that was normal. I didn't know any better. I thought, okay, well, I guess that's a part of life, and if I want to become successful in life, then I gotta sacrifice my youth and work my butt off so that I can enjoy later on. I realized this was a little bit backward now that I'm in my 50s, but I was always tired and never taking time off. And I start to ask myself, well, what is this all for? And what is the meaning of all this stuff? So after 10 years of working in the corporate world, I ended up getting a job at a university where they had great pension, great benefits. And I start to find myself just getting really bored. Even though I was going to get a good pension, the job was stable, it wasn't overly stressful, but there was something missing in my life. And at age 35, I said to myself, well, is this the way I'm going to go? Is this what I'm going to do for the next 30 years? Just being miserable, showing up and punching clocks. So that day I decided I was going to go back and do something that I really loved, and that was martial arts. And my entire life I enjoyed training in the martial arts, and I wanted to make a living out of it. So that day I decided to quit my job and dedicate my life to teaching martial arts. So that's when the mental shift happened. And one of the things that I noticed recently, actually the last couple of years, is that I myself, after I started my business, I started working crazy hours again, just like I did before. And nothing had really changed except that I had the ability to call my own shots. So to me, that was freedom. But as I started making money, I didn't go and experience things that I should have in my 30s and 40s. I went on a few trips here and there, but not a lot. Most of the time was spent working my business, building my business, and saving my money for retirement. And I always thought to myself, well, once I made the money, I was going to enjoy myself, and I would I'd be wealthy and do all these things. And I kept putting off all these things that I wanted to do, travel, new experiences, and so forth. So the shift happened a few years ago when I found myself working so much, and my brother, who took over my father's business, he's now in his 50s, and he was doing the same thing as my father, not traveling anymore, had no free time for anything, always stressed out. And I asked myself, well, what is this all for? What am I doing this for? And what does this all mean? And at the time, my business was going well, everything was going well, financially, everything was great. I had no complaints about my life. I enjoyed what I do. I love what I do. But I start to think to myself, well, what is the purpose of all this stuff if I cannot enjoy it? And I'm not talking about buying a Lamborghini and those things. Those things don't matter to me. I'm talking about living life. And a part of me felt empty. And part of me felt that something was missing in my life. So I decided on a number that I can live with. And I said to myself, as long as I got cash flow coming in, that is what matters the most. I'm not going to focus on, building my big, huge net worth as much anymore, because it's the cash flowing assets that allow me to maintain my lifestyle. And I don't need, millions of dollars to a year to enjoy my life, because I don't have those lavish those lavish things that I really want. I drive a very simple car, as long as it's reliable. But what I valued the most was experiences, new experiences, travel with friends, spending time with family, and just having good food to eat, and be able to exercise as well on my time and whenever I want. And I already had that already in terms of, I wasn't worried about bills anymore, which I used to be stressed over. But the thing that was missing was I was working so much, and it took away from what I used to do a lot and all the time for hours and hours, and that was training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I still train, but not as much as I used to. But I realized that time was passing me by. I wasn't traveling as much, hardly ever actually, until recently. And so I thought it was time for a change. And that's when I decided to look at my portfolio and say to myself, okay, how much money do I need? And I'm okay with this number. And I spoke to my wife about it and talked to her about possibly her retiring in a couple of years if she feels comfortable enough. And so she can come travel with me. The thing is, why did I choose semi-retirement instead of full retirement? Okay, so one of the things that I notice from people who are very driven and worked all their lives, when they retire, it seems like the soul has been ripped out of them. I mean, you can travel and do all these things, but I think after a number of years, you've gone to all the places that you want to go, you have to have some sort of purpose. And I enjoy my work, and I love my work. And I can't just see myself just walking away completely and sitting on a beach all day. To me, I need to do other things to occupy my time. So I enjoy starting new businesses, but now when I start a business, it's got to require that I have some systems in place. For example, a manager managing it so I don't have to be there all the time, and preferably anything that's low stress and passive income, where I'm not heavily involved. So online businesses and so forth. I'll tell you one thing about online business. I first dabbled in it many years ago, probably a decade ago, and I would stop. And then in 2017, before I started my new martial arts school, I had created an online course for jiu-jitsu. And I was so surprised because I think I had about 15,000 followers within 4 months. And I started selling the program, and I remember the first ping. I hear this ping on my phone, and they'll say, give me a message to say, you got money from PayPal. And I thought, wow, this thing really works. And before you know it, I was making, a few hundred here and there, and then I eventually made 7,000 on this course. And I thought to myself, wow, this really works. And I got taken away from it because I started my bricks and mortar school. But now I've got that itch to go full steam ahead with this. And that was my goal here with YouTube, was to stay consistent and to build another passive income stream. And so that's what led me to semi-retire as well, is to create this online presence. But I mean, I don't need to get rich off YouTube or anything like this. What I need to do is just have a hedge against my other income sources and allow me to do the things I want to, continue to do things I want to do, which is travel and have peace of mind and freedom. And that's all I want, is to be stress-free. So that was one of the things that got me thinking about just semi-retirement. And the other thing is health, because when I'm working all the time, I'm not taking care of my health. So exercise, nutrition has always been a big part of my life. And by having the freedom to do that, I can go take care of myself better now. So I'm able to go train whenever I want. I'm able to go get a personal trainer if I want. I'm able to do all the things that help me release the stress. So that is basically how I created a financial independence without burning out. And let me know what your thoughts are. Are you guys facing the same situation? Do you own a business, or do you want to fully retire? Do you want to semi-retire? I'm looking to connect with other people on the internet and see where they all are in this journey as a 50-year-old. I hope you enjoy this content, and I'll hope to see you next time, and we'll see you then. Okay? Take care. Bye-bye.